Process approach is a method to plan processes and its interactions as part of management system. This approach aims to iron out any inefficiencies, making it easier for the organization to work on continual improvement. Good day everyone, I am Micaela Devaras, and for today's topic, we will learn all about process approach. So let's get started here in TQM. Process model contains three elements, which are inputs of the process, outputs of the process, and the process itself or the task. By having a control over all the inputs and the process parameters, the organization can identify all the inputs, documenting them, and having a control over the quality or the output of the product. Any product, manufacturing, or service preparation and delivery can be modeled in this manner. A little analysis of every process will bring out clearly all the three elements. To proceed, here are the other topics that will be tackled today and hashtag ETQM.
Input and output of the process. These two are the major matters closely connected to conception of a process. They actually make all the sense of process, which is a mechanism of transforming certain input to specific output. Input is something you bring into the process to make it work, while output is a specific product or result which you expect to be produced by the process. Input of the process. The various inputs required for any process are bill of materials, specification for each material, requirements for inspection for the incoming materials, procedure for the receipt of the materials. Output of the process. The output of the process consists of the following: the products or service to be delivered, documents to be delivered, the specifications for all the above, method of measurements for verifying conformance to the specifications, criteria for acceptance or rejections.
We are here now at the ETX model, which is known as the most popular process model. ETX is defined as entry, task, and exit. The auditing process is called task, while the new items in the diagram are entry and exit. The entry is the conditions to be satisfied before the task is undertaken, while the exit is the conditions to be fulfilled before the task is considered to be completed.
The Subura 6S model for process improvement. This concept contains different phases that will help any business to improve its process, developed by Subura's Ramasamy on 1991. The first phase is a study wherein the task is to examine the current performance level of a process that can trigger improvement in internal and external factors, such as customer feedbacks, employee feedbacks, and cycle time achieved. Next is streamline, wherein the process strictly follows the smoothest schedule with the least resistance due to delays. Because delays, especially non-valuable resistance, affects the totality of the process and should be eliminated.
The next phase is the simplify. It is a step that simplifies the procedure to carry out the tasks without changing and compromising other aspects. This step reduces the amount of work, the time and effort of the workforce, and the materials to be used. The next phase is the standardize. This step requires the employees to work in uniform by doing the work in the same way as the documented procedure. The next phase is the synergize. This step requires an activity to be coordinated with the next procedure in order to have a joint effect, as no process is a standalone activity. The last phase of the 6S model is the strengthen, and in order to achieve this, 3 tasks should be carried out during this phase. First is to educate and convince the organization, customers, and suppliers. Next is to assure the people that the new process will have a better effectivity than the previous one. Lastly is to monitor and confirm through your employees that the new process is effective.
Supply chain management.
Supply chain management is a management of the flow of goods and services and includes all the processes that transform raw materials into final products. Supply chain management is also a task of optimizing all activities throughout the supply chain so that the products and services are supplied in the right quantity, right quality to the right customer at the right time and the optimal cost. Supply chain management involves the following activities: demand planning, manufacturing and scheduling, supply planning, and transportation planning.
To further explain the supply chain management involved activities, let us start in demand. This is a planning process that optimally schedules manufacturing orders with production capacity. It enables a company to project future demands and successfully customize company output. It is performed by combining MRP and CRP to optimize and constrain production plans. Effective demand planning requires the use of demand forecasting techniques that carries added benefits such as heighten the company efficiency and increase customer satisfaction. Next is the supply planning, a process that meets customer demand based on available inventory and transportation resources. It involves with determining how to best fulfill the requirements created from the demand plan. This includes DRP, which needs in replenishing inventory at branch warehouses. The objective of supply planning is to balance the supply and demand in a manner that achieves the financial and service objectives of the enterprise. Lastly, transportation planning. A planning process that optimally schedule, load, deliver shipments to customers while considering constraints such as delivery date, mode of transportations, carriers, and others. The performance of supply chain management is to effectively integrate the suppliers, manufacturers, warehouse, and retailers so that the products are produced and distributed effectively at optimal cost.
What is Kanban system? Kanban is a Japanese word which stands for card and signal. So this system simply means the use of visual signal to stimulate the action to keep the process flowing. The Kanban system was developed by Taiichi Ono, the Vice President of Toyota, which seek objectives such as reducing cost by eliminating waste, creating work sites that can respond to the changes quickly, facilitating method of achieving and ensuring quality control, and developing workplace with human dignity, mutual trust, support, and allowing the workers to reach their full potential. A card containing all information required for the job to be carried out on a product at each stages of its journey to completion is what Kanban system actually is. The essence of this concept is that the supplier will only deliver the components in the production line as and when they are needed, so that there is no storage in the production area. Moreover, these cards are used to control the work in progress production and inventories and enable the business to adopt the just-in-time production and ordering system.
Withdrawal Kanban and Production Kanban. Withdrawal Kanban authorizes movement of parts from store to another. For example, in a fast food chain, you order a burger. Before having the produced burger, the materials or ingredients to have that product may come from the storeroom or from the supplier. Those movements are called withdrawal Kanban. A withdrawal Kanban usually carries this following information: part number, part name, lot size, routine process, name of the process, location of the process, name of the preceding process, container type, container capacity, and number of container released. On the other hand, production Kanban authorizes the production of goods. For example, in the fast food chain and the burger you ordered. After having all the materials or ingredients for that burger, production will take place to fully produce the finished goods. The production Kanban card should have the following information: materials required as input at the preceding stage, parts required as inputs at the preceding stage, and information pertaining to the withdrawal Kanban as stated earlier.
The sell-in-process approach usually refers to a group of workstations, machine, and equipment arranged for a product to be processed. An example of this production process is lean manufacturing, which cellular manufacturing and work cell have prominent roles. Cellular manufacturing is a grouping of production equipment used for sequential production of a set of parts with similar characteristics. In cellular manufacturing, employees may operate more than one machine within the production cell.
Similarly, a work cell is more extensive work unit than an individual machine, but smaller than a usual department. It can employ 3 to 12 employees and 5 to 50 workstations in a compact arrangement. Aside from that, they improve quality and reduce work costs. Cellular manufacturing and work cell also improve work morale and free up capacity for new product development.
The single-piece flow or continuous flow manufacturing. It is a technique used to manufacture components in a cellular environment. The goal of single-piece flow is to make one part at a time and correctly all the time without lengthy queue. Imagine an area, it is called a cell, and everything that is needed to process the part are within the easy reach, and no part is allowed to get to the next operation until the previous operation has been completed. Take a look at this illustration. Compared to batch production, every item from the single-piece flow that gets to be completed in a cell directly goes to the next cell right after. And that is how a single-piece flow manufacturing works.
Flow manufacturing is focused on producing many products rapidly on a large scale using production line techniques where workers focus on a specific step in production process. This is what the Coca-Cola company is using. Features of flow manufacturing. Flow production works the same way. Component parts follow the same path, enables large volume of production, continuous production, and requires a substantial upfront. Batch production is appropriate for a wide variety of businesses and products. These range from pharmaceuticals to clothing, chemicals, and food-based products. One good example are bakeries. They benefit from batch production as they are able to create many different baked goods using the same equipment and benefit from scaling production up or down depending on trends and demand forecast. This is Joanna Rivera, #ETQM.